Hey folks, what's going on? Welcome to Coach Gav Live, episode 48 with me, your host, Coach Gav from Kildare Strength and Fitness. So, an awful lot of time we hear people saying, kind of to try to keep things simple, oh, I'm a black and white kind of guy or girl, or, and sometimes we do make things too complicated. But to get results and to be successful, things don't necessarily have to be straight down the middle, kind of just black and white. If anything, there is a need for that grey area, for that uncertain area, or that area where there's flexibility and there's leeway and there's a little bit of wiggle room. Because sometimes when we set things up where they're just in absolutes, they're very hard to stick to. They're very hard to stay consistent to. And then when things are hard to stick to or things are hard to be consistent with, it often can result in inconsistency. And when there's inconsistency, that's when there is a lack of progress or a lack of results. So by having that grey area or having that flexibility in all of your planning, it's going to allow you to build up momentum through consistency, through regularity, through momentum. And that's where, and that's one of the things that is black and white. If you're consistent enough and you build up enough momentum, your results will come. It's just a matter of time of building them up, and then they cash in or they tip over and the results come your way. It's so hard. I struggle to think of a situation where you can be consistently making a genuine effort and not see results or progress come to fruition. I just can't get my head around how that would be possible. So for the vast majority of us that are looking for better results or the same result but with an easier pathway, maybe this could be the area where pardon me. Isn't sneezing when you're driving way more dangerous than drink driving? Like your eyes close fully for a second or two. Well, that's a different story. So again, let's say when it comes to your training, having that grey area or having that flexibility. Like I had a plan for today's session. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I had to do to get to my results. I tweaked my knee a little bit early on the session, so I had to modify what I was doing. Modified it even further. My knee was giving me a bit of grief, so I had to change it a second time. So what I ended up doing, while it was still a good workout and it was kind of towards, it kept me going in the same direction, it wasn't what I had planned to do. But rather than saying black and white, either I'm doing this workout or I'm not doing it, I had that grey area saying, okay, well look, let's just switch it up for a bit and change it up. And then that allows me to rest the knee a little, take it easy, not do any damage, not make it any worse, which will allow me to come back, on par tomorrow and to continue on. It also means I got my session done for the day, so that's one of my daily checks ticked off. And now I get to go about the rest of my day then as well. So rather than having to worry about trying to train later on, which was also an option, I could have rested my knees this morning, come back and train in the evening, but training in the evening generally doesn't work out too well for me. It disrupts my sleep too much. So that's one area where having that grey area that's one way having that grey area or flexibility can play to your advantage. Obviously then the big one being nutrition, where you can, when you work into your plan, the ability to have, again, we spoke previously about how kind of having, while trying to drop my body fat and improve my shape, my physique, my strength and fitness and my health, that by allowing for kind of beers and crisps or things like that then as well, or allowing for the possibility of them, it enables me to still go and eat all my veggies. I'll generally eat my daily requirement for my veg in the earlier part of the day. I get it done so that I don't have to worry about later on in the day making sure I get it in or not. Same then with your proteins and your carbohydrates or your starchy foods, is knowing how much you need to have to get to your goal. And the longer you stay on or in or around those targets, so those calorie targets, or those macro targets, if you want, it then allows you to go and have pizza, chips, beers, wine, whatever it is. It allows you to have that flexibility where, let's say you go to a party, or you have a night out, or you go for a meal out with your partner or your kids or something like that as well, or there's a birthday party, things like that. It allows you to go and enjoy them and still be sociable. So that's what we actually refer to when we're looking at people's nutrition. We put aside 10% of people's daily calories into what we would call, say, sociable foods, and then, like, you can predict by and large when you're having a night out, or when you're having a birthday party, or a birthday party or an event. You know, most of them you can kind of see, okay, well, this is happening then, so you can work up towards it, because there's nothing worse than, you know, working towards a plan that's beyond restrictive. There's smart and there's challenging planning, but I mean, again, with nutrition, that's the biggest area where I've seen that this black and white standard just doesn't work, where we're so strict and we're so, this is the only way it can be, there is no other way. Like, it's such bullshit. Like, there has to be flexibility. There's every chance I go home now and have a bowl of Frosties, but again, that's fine. I'll tack it into my plan, and by having that bowl of Frosties, it means I can't have as much toast or rice or pasta or whatever else later on in the day. So it just means balancing the books and making sure I'm not overdoing it. Again, that's where having that grey area. Same with your time management. You'll have seen the post on Instagram and on Facebook yesterday about my new time management plan going ahead. I've actually freed up more time because it will allow me to be more flexible. It'll allow me to, let's say if I'm studying something in particular and I want to keep getting into that topic or into that book or whatever I'm doing, I'm able to go and give that more time, rather than saying, oh, well, that's the end of that. All those times that I've put down on those sheets are minimums. They're my minimum requirements. So let's say if I run over when I'm coaching in the gym, that's okay, it'll balance out. Because I noticed on my previous kind of time sheet, I had my time so strictly allocated, and that's, you know, that's going to happen. You know, it kind of, sometimes you'll be well balanced and other times you won't, so you're kind of looking to spread it out a bit as you are. So by having that flexibility with your time, it's going to allow you to have a bit of me time, have a bit more study time, work a little bit later, allow for getting stuck in traffic and things like that then as well. There's so many flexibility things that you do want to watch out from them as well. And that's where, when you can give yourself that flexibility, it allows you to operate, or allows you to live with less stress. And when you're living with less stress and less pressure, you can achieve more things. You're able to be a lot more productive, a lot more productive. You know, you can build up your confidence, you can build up your motivation. You don't feel like you're in this constant loop of, well, I'm doing well, I'm not doing well, I'm doing well, I'm not doing well, and then just your motivation goes high, goes up and down then as well. So the more things we can do to boost our motivation, to boost our confidence in ourselves, will allow us to be more productive. And when we're able to be more productive, it builds up more momentum, and it gets us closer and closer to our goals as we go along. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do. It's so much, succeeding is a lot more straightforward than we make it out to be. Do something not boring, please. Okay, Olivia, cheers. Well, if the videos are boring, stop watching. That's not my issue, not my problem. You don't like it, don't watch it. But like that, just strip it down, keep it simple. And it doesn't need to be you know, something crazy over the top. You know, a little on top of a little. I mean, think of when, I'm just looking at when the pub's being renovated here. There's a pub in Cuchulainn, and it's been renovated for the past like 4 or 5 months, and they're gradually doing it bit by bit, and it's slowly changing. It's slowly looking better and better and better. So rather than trying to change everything all at once, they're taking their time and they're doing it bit by bit by bit. So why then, you know, and for people changing their health and changing their nutrition or their habits, it's as big a task as, rebuilding a house or rebuilding a pub or building a house from scratch then as well. And that's the trick, is just to do it bit by bit and you make a checklist and tick them off bit by bit. So if you find your track record is you go all in on something and then it fails, or you're very stop-start with your plans, there's a strong probability that your issue is actually just you're too strict, you're too rigid, you've no leeway for kind of the ups and downs that life's going to throw at you then as well. And then when you don't have that leeway and something pops up and you have to change your plan, you start freaking out, you start stressing. Or let's say you have a bad Tuesday or you have a bad Wednesday with your diet or your training, you throw away the rest of the week and then you kind of you piss it all away. So that is probably something kind of worth looking at, you know, especially with September pretty much being gone now. So we've 3 months left in 2017, the new year's coming along. So if you found, like most years, you started off really strong this year and then just fell away, maybe you're being too strict, you're being too rigid, you're keeping things too black and white as opposed to having that that flexibility in your plans. Alright folks, that is it. Take it easy. I'll talk to you later on. Take it easy. God bless.